Hey guys, welcome to the Overpass Live. My name is Eric and I make apps. Hey, I'm sorry for starting a few minutes later than I said I was going to do. Well, actually, I'm starting a whole day earlier than I normally do, but I have to go out tomorrow. I have something to go to tomorrow night, and I'd forgotten all about it, so I thought either we skip the live stream this week or we do it early. So I thought I would do it tonight, and I put out on the story earlier that I was going to do it at 5:30, and then it was just sort of finishing up a bunch of stuff and wrapping up a meeting so that we could chat now. So sorry about I mean, even though saying I was going to start at 5:30 tonight, and normally we're going to do it at 5 p.m. on Fridays. It's just more convenient that way for me, but this week we're doing it now. So hey, thanks everybody who has shown up. And I don't know what it's gonna be like to start on a Thursday. Maybe nobody will show up, but I see we already have Billy's already here. Sorry Billy, I was late. Sorry Mega Man. Yeah, Mega Man. 11th of Jan. I always said it afterwards, and I guess I need to remember. Maybe I should just remove the date from the live stream thing on there. Maybe I should just do that, because every week I do the wrong thing. CH Development, hey, how's it going? Let's see. Hussein, hey, how's it going? Is it just me, or is there no sound? Is there no sound? Is there no sound? Can you guys hear me? Let's see. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Do we have any sound? It's good night here. Okay, anything but serious abs? Anything but serious abs. Let's see. I want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. Do we have audio? Okay, cool. All right. Yes, it's a good night here. Anything but serious abs says. Is that an app name, Anything But Serious Abs, or do you actually have Anything But Serious Abs? I mean, like the rest of you, well. All right, let's see. Cool, saying we could hear. Roy Ford, hey, how's it going? Bram, okay, cool. How's it going? Rick, hey, how are you? Hey, Jay, how's it going? Hey, John. Cool, so like I said, we're doing it a day early. I'm not quite sure what we're going to talk about, but I just felt like we shouldn't let it go another 2 weeks, because I think at the end of last year with all the holidays and everything, I kept missing the live stream, and I felt a bit bad for it, especially since a lot of people say, hey, can you have a look at this? And I'll say, wait till next week's live stream, and I don't. So I thought we'd do it today if there's anything to talk about. So for me, this week has been really busy. I've been to London. I spent a day in London. I spent earlier today in Oxford. Been kind of all over the place. I had a few client meetings, quite a few client meetings, but we've been doing a bit of trying to shoot a promo video. So we're trying to shoot a promo video, and not for the channel, but I just want to do some Facebook ads in terms of advertising Overpass. So doing a lot of that kind of stuff, and maybe it will turn out, maybe not, but we'll see. And also, you know, a few projects getting started this week for clients, which is pretty cool. And then, like I said, on Sunday morning, the video you saw today, Sunday morning, was I woke up and just in front of my app, ear agent was the ads were suspended. I need to respond to some of the reviews, because there's some people asking, you know, how did it get suspended? Was it suspended by AdMob or by Google Play? And it was by AdMob. Just the ads were. It didn't say suspended. It said stop serving. So ads stopped serving, and basically said the interstitials were popping up in the middle of the sessions. And to be honest, I did at one point change it to a button click event, because I wasn't getting enough transitioning from one page to another. So I put it on a button click event, but like on a random basis. So I figured that's a transition. If you're clicking something, you kind of expect that, even though you weren't leaving that page. And I think that's probably what it was. So I went through and I removed that and resubmitted it. And it was like, it was really like 6 hours after I resubmitted it, or resubmitted the build, appealed it, and everything went fine there. So that was pretty cool. And that's pretty. I mean, it's nice that they responded quickly, right? Because I don't want to go days going by. And the thing was, it was like Sunday morning when I read it, and I laid there in bed thinking, should I go into the office? And normally, I mean, I'd be going into the office anyway, but it was like, I have to go in the office and do this, and really it was just a few minutes. Luckily, like I said, I hadn't been tinkering with the code in since the last time I released it. All I had to do was increase the version number, go through, comment out those few lines, run through a few tests, just make sure everything still runs, and resubmit it, and then you know, and everything went well. So let's see. So Roy Ford, at last I made one. I have a couple of questions when there's time. There's plenty of time, Roy. We got loads of time. My whole thing whenever we start a live stream is like, are we going to have enough to talk about today? And I used to like write down a list of topics to talk about, but today was, like I said, I was just kind of a rush. So it's kind of all over the place. So I didn't really have anything. So yeah, let's any questions you have, this is the time to talk about them. I mean, like I said before, occasionally I get people say, could they get my email address or my Skype address? They want to sit down and have a chat with me. And I think, well, we can, but what I'll do is I'll send a link so you can pay for my time as like a one-on-one consulting. But like if you're happy to do it publicly, then in the live stream is an ideal situation, because I may or may not know the answer to any question, and a lot of it is just my opinion or some of the experience that we've had. So it's good to mention it here, and it's nice just to when we all get together and share information. I think is a lot nicer than if we just had a one-on-one thing. And as part of it is, to me, is just the, I think it's like if we had a one-on-one consultation, I would have to charge you for the time without any guarantee of whether or not I would be able to help. And that kind of bothers me, right? Like I could never we thought for many times we think about doing an ASO service for our clients. So say we can help you with ASO, right? Like SEO company, right? And the thing I don't like about that is you can't guarantee anything, right? And I think if you were going to pay for something, you should have a guarantee you're going to get a result. And that's one of the consultation things. But the few people who have hired me to consult with them have been very happy, and they've been able to, I mean, just have a second pair of eyes look at it, saying you should try this. This is something you try, that kind of stuff. But again, we do it on a live stream, so if you're happy to do it publicly, I can't dedicate so much time to one person. So if you have like lots of stuff, then this is the part where I'm rambling. Sorry about that. Stop myself. Anything But Abs can hear you. Love your videos. Thanks, Anything But Abs. I really appreciate it. Faraz Ahmad says, according to you, what's the most profitable app category? I think it's utilities. I mean, and this is just because to me, actually no. So for me, my biggest app was, I mean, utilities is not, it's not a category. Tools is a category. But like on Google Play, we started out in the communication category because it was like you hearing stuff. And then at one point I decided let's move categories, and we moved it into medical. And then it did really well in medical, mainly because there weren't a lot of apps there, and it was ranking really well. So we were getting the same level of downloads, but we were also showing up in like the top 10 medical applications in a lot of different countries. Eventually though, and this was last year around August, was it August? No, it was May, because I just resubmitted my build after the GDPR changes, so I had the consent form come up and everything, and it was suspended. And it was suspended because it was pretending to be a medical app. So then I went through and moved it back to the communications category, and that's pretty much where it stayed, right? So, and I thought I would take a hit on revenue, and I haven't. So I don't think it matters that much. At least it hasn't to me. But yeah, I think that, and from what I've read, is that utilities they work a lot better. They make a lot more money than games, because there's a usefulness to it. So basically, you're taking your phone and saying it's no longer just a phone. Now it's a hearing aid. Now it's a laser pointer. Now whatever it happens to be, the utility that you're adding. So now it's a currency converter. And of course, if your utility is really good, and it really catches on, and lots of people are doing it, it might just become part of the platform anyway. And I'm always amazed at applications like Waze and other things that are able to take something that's part of the platform and make something that's better than that. So doing Waze, like you already have maps, you already have GPS, but it adds the social element to it. I talked about it before. iOS has added something where it's very similar to EarSpy, right? Just as part of the platform, but people are still downloading it, so that's good. And it might just be because they don't know that other thing exists, which I'm glad about. So let's see. What else we have? Pelitic says, "Hello, Eric. I have a mobile game called Slimefall for Android, and I wonder if I could get my game ranked to first on the keyword slime." Let's have a look. I don't know how competitive that is, but yeah, Politic. Let's have a quick look at that. Let me just move that down there. We'll open up another window. So it's called Slimefall. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna get down on the chat here, but we'll stop here, and this first one we'll have a look at. So share my screen. Play.google.com, and it's called Slimefall. That's Slimefall. Okay. Oh, wow. There's two. Which one are you? Politic. Which one are you? If you could just put in the chat here. Let's see. Slimefall. Is it endless? I'm surprised there's two. I'm gonna assume because you put it with no spaces. No, you did. What did you say? Because it must be this one, Slimefall, Endless Faller. Okay, so is this yours here? Let's see. 19 reviews. Is that 94 megabytes? That's pretty big, isn't it? But I suppose it depends on what's in there. 500 plus installs. Let's just check to make sure this is one. Okay, cool. First one. So let's do another one. Play.google.com. Let's have a look at slime and see what, because I wasn't even sure. Like if I typed in slime and search, I'm not even sure what I would expect to get back. Oh, actually, it's quite a bit. Super slime, DIY slime, Slimefall. So I think the super slime. So Super Slime Simulator. So let's have a look at the first one just so we can see what it does. So wow, so it's got 300,000 reviews, which is going to be very difficult for you to compete with. If we were to go through and we could look at the backlink check to see how they're doing, but they've got lots of reviews. They've had over 10 million downloads. I'm not sure if you can get to the top slot on this one, to be honest with you. Let's have a look at how you're doing on App Annie. I mean, this is one of the because you have to think about the Google Play algorithm. If somebody types in slime and they see something and they have something here that's been downloaded over 10 million times and has a really good star rating and tons of reviews, and then they have yours, which is just getting started, so you haven't really picked up that momentum yet. They have to think which one should they show first, and which one should they show first. So let's go Slimefall. So it's almost like you might have to look for another keyword just because you have that one there, and at the very least, hopefully you can get further down. So you got good ratings, but you don't have a lot of usage yet. Let's go to keywords ASO. Where are you ranking for it now? Okay, you're ranking for Viking helmet. Let's see, slime. You guys can see my screen. Oh yeah, you guys can see my screen. All right. So slime is loading, so let's wait for those results to load. But the first thing I would say, because right now you have Slimefall, you don't have the actual word slime. So you have endless falling, feed, claim rewards. So if you actually want to rank well for slime, I would say having slime on its own somewhere in the description. So sorry, Slimefall, and you're pretty much listing the keywords here, which is not, I mean, it's obviously working, but it's kind of just, you're listing keywords. So I would say Slimefall, the endless falling slime game, or the endless falling slime game, or something like that. You can say the endless falling slime game with rewards, and then you have the word slime twice, but that doesn't really mean anything because, like I said, there's already 242 results for slime, and you're not ranking at all in any of those. So because I would say go ahead and put that in there. Let's have a look at the app details. When did you release? So your first version came out in August. No, your first version. I'm looking at the right one, right? Slimefall and Slimefall falling. So version 1.4 came out in July. So it's been out for quite a while. But you still don't have a lot of installs yet, so you have to think how you can get in there. There's different ways to do it. I think for this, you could look at changing the keyword. If slime's not working, you can look at goo. Let's have a look at some other things here, just so we can have goo. Oh, world of goo. Gel. and gel's all wow, it's all nails things. So goo, gel, snot. I mean, would snot show up? Would that be a bad one? And again, that might be a bit crude, but it's the kind of thing that I'm sure there's lots of stuff there. So if we change it from slime fall to snot fall, would that be something that you would play with? And again, this is the kind of things that I don't really know the answer to it. Here you got slime, which shows. There you go. So here you go. If I type in snot, which is, I don't know. I'm assuming that's not an American slang, is it? I don't think I've ever heard anybody in England say it. But so here we go. We got how to make slime gorilla snot. So they're ranking, even though that's they don't even have any proper screenshots, but it's just this in different languages. So I hopefully that's a little bit helpful. For the rest of you guys, what do you guys think? Do you have any feedback for Politic on Slimefall and how we can rank higher there? I'm just gonna go back to the list. I'm sorry, I paused right there. Matthew Harris, hey, how's it going? Thank you for your email earlier this week, Matthew. I did respond to it in a video. I think it was the one that we played already, but I hope you don't mind me doing that. I didn't mention your name just because I didn't have your permission to do so, but I really appreciate the question and the email that you sent through. VJ, hello, sir. Nice to see you. Big fan. Hey, thanks, VJ. I really appreciate it. Starting Java for Android development, is it okay? Yes, I think it would be fine. I think it'd be fine with Java for Android. The nice thing about, sorry, I'm talking too fast. The nice thing about, oh, I got mud. I must have mud stuck to my shoes. Sorry. This is why I do the daily video without doing it live. Yeah, Java is one of the biggest languages in the world. If app development doesn't take off for you, you could always do some other kind of Java development. So yeah, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong learning Java for Android, but it's not cross-platform. So I mean, it is cross-platform. As a rule, Java is cross-platform, but in terms of Android, if you're going to do Android development, you can't do iOS development in Java. At least I haven't seen any platforms that you could do it. Although it should be possible that somebody would come out with something. I just never heard of any. So I mean, there's other languages too. I mean, if you stick with native Android, and more now, if you're going to do just one platform, Android's the one to go for because you have 80% of the market share. Right, iOS is still there, and it especially. My first app was an Android app. I was not interested in doing iPhone at all. It just, I couldn't be bothered. Right, even the developers were saying, "Would you like us to do an iPhone version for you?" And I was like, "Nah, I can't be bothered." I said, "Well, you know," and they said they could give me a good rate, and I said, "Okay, then let's see how it works." And I was making more money from Android and from iOS initially, especially with the purchases. And on a per user basis, more people were making purchases for iOS. On the games that were not getting a lot of downloads, it were more likely to get people purchasing on iOS. So that was something. But the reason I was saying it was because the first one was done in Android, and as soon as I said I released an app, I started telling people, they would take out their iPhones and say, "Oh, can I download it?" And I said, "No, it's on Android only." But this was back in 2012, and now, I mean, back then, I mean, I remember having an Android phone and getting criticized because it was because I didn't have enough money to get an iPhone, and I did, but I just couldn't, I wanted to try something. I was tired of waiting in lines every time they came out with a new iPhone version. I was kind of sick of the smugness of iPhone users. I still kind of am, even though I have an iPhone now. So I was only interested in Android, but I like serving both of them. And if we get to the point where Android completely takes over the same way that Windows took over for a long time before Mac came back, or the way that Internet Explorer took over the browser world before Chrome moved in, or Firefox. So it used to be Netscape Navigator and Internet Explorer. I know I'm old, right? And then eventually Internet Explorer really just dominated because so many people on Windows, they had Internet Explorer, and Internet Explorer just dominated. And I can remember thinking, that's it. It's the end of the browser wars. And then Firefox just started gaining speed and just building and building. And then Chrome came in and just decimated everything. So, if we get to that point, then you're going to be good with knowing Java for Android. But I think it's good. I mean, the rest of you guys could could pitch in there too. Mega Man 2016, how do you handle friends and family pitching you app ideas they want made? That's a difficult one because you just, you listen politely, and it's like, I think so I told this story once in a video where I went to go get my eyes checked, like to see the optometrist. Yeah, get my eyes checked. So get a subscription update on my glasses, and which I wear sometimes because I'm getting older. You know, I've got the varifocals, and I don't wear them. I wear them very rarely. Maybe if I'm driving at night or if I'm reading something and my eyes are tired, because I try not to do it too much. I try not to wear them as often because they don't look very good. And so I went to go do that, and I'm talking to the optician. He said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm an app developer." He goes, "Oh, you and I should get together because I've got a lot of ideas." And he started, like, as he's testing my eyes, he kept telling me his app ideas, but he kept saying it as like, "Don't steal my idea now, don't steal my idea." And that's the bit that bothers me about it. That's the bit that bothers me. He said, "Don't steal my idea, but, you know, I got this idea." And they tell you as it, man, you just kind of feel like you should be a little bit impressed. Like, you feel like you should, like, I mean, and it's just, there's so many things. I mean, when you're sitting there thinking about app ideas all the time, you're sitting there thinking, you know, could we do this? Could we do that? Would that work? Would this work? You know, with this industry, and then somebody comes to you with a thing, and it's kind of this whole, you know, like the idea itself has value, right? And it's they don't realize how difficult it could be to do it. And even then, when it's not difficult, like sometimes you're like, I have done that for a family member. I just built an app because it was easy. It was based on an Excel spreadsheet, and I just built it. It was like, it took me like a half a day, and I was just like, yeah, I should just do that. But then if you do something for somebody, like, you obviously, if it's a friend or family, you're not gonna say that I'll have to charge you, or I'll send you an invoice, and you know, and then we'll end up at this point where you kept asking for changes and scope creep, and we'll get into that kind of relationship. So yeah, I just kind of just think, oh no, that's a good idea. You should do that. I say you should do that, and then that's, you know, where I go. So because it's not impossible to learn code. I mean, we've all done it. Most of us have, haven't we? Let's see. Matthew Harris says, charging for one-on-one consultation is totally fair. I keep having to bat away people trying to connect with me in my blogging Facebook groups. Yeah, Matthew. I mean, I suppose it's fair. It just feels like, you know, it feels like, because every day we talk, and you know, we do the video every day, and even then, yeah, people said I was criticized. So I went to a Christmas party. I went to a Christmas party last month, obviously in December, and there was a guy there who I used to work with, and he's constantly saying, you need to sell stuff on your videos. You need to sell stuff. Your problem with your videos is you do them every day and you don't sell anything. And I'm thinking, well, that would kind of cheapen them, wouldn't it? It would. I mean, but like, if you know, we get a lot of exposure to. I mean, we get a lot of exposure to the videos. We get clients contact me, they say, I want to work with you, all that kind of stuff. But it's not. If I came in here and said, hey, I want you guys all to buy whatever. Like, you need to buy this thing. Use my affiliate link or use this thing, and it would just be like, all of a sudden, we just can't have the discussion. So, you know, that's what we learned about apps. You guys tell me what you learned about apps, and I think that's totally cool. I think that's really good. And occasionally, like a new client will come in and say, I've been watching some of your videos, and I want to work with you, and that's cool too, right? That's, yeah, everything works out. It's the circle of life, and I don't need to do that. What I do need to be doing though, and I keep trying to remind myself this, and I forget on every video, is to say, please subscribe. I'm tired of people saying, how come you don't have very many subscribers on this channel? And we just reached 18,000 last night. And I think that's loads, but still people keep saying it to me. So let's see. Roy Ford says, the first question is, I've been trying poorly to get on Huawei store as they went global. They need a DUNS number, which I can do, but costs $80. It shouldn't cost $80, should it? Just wondered if you had gone for it yet. I have a DUNS number. I honestly can't tell you what it was. I think it was, God, did I need it? I remember getting a Dun & Bradstreet number, but it didn't cost me any money. Are you sure about that? I mean, unless it changed it recently. I think I went and found a video that's saying how to do it, and I filled in the form and I got the number. Because there's that one, and there's the one that iOS asks for, or when you set up your iTunes Connect account. That one's That's not a DUNS number. That's something else. But I think I got the DUNS number. I remember setting one up, and I don't think I paid anything for it. And it depends. If $80 is quite a lot, but if it's something you could reuse, then maybe it's worth it. I don't know. I have not done anything on Huawei yet. In fact, the fact that I have the DUNS number, I honestly can't tell you what it is. I don't know where I did it. I'm hoping that I put it in an Evernote note, but there's so many things like that where I just have to keep going back. But yeah, that would, I mean, it might be worth it, especially if it's something you could reuse. There's the one that you have to do for iOS, which was which the one you have to do for when you set up an iTunes Connect account? It's not iOS, it's not DUNS, or is it? Might be DUNS. So I think you might have to do that one. So Matthew Harris says, I help out in those groups where I can, but I cannot adopt everyone as their personal free developer. Yeah, I understand that too. So for a long time, I was doing Snapchat, Matthew, and I loved doing it because it was kind of fun. That was because I felt young and trendy, and I just take out the phone and I just hey, today I'm doing this, today I'm doing that, and because it was Snapchat, I just say, here's my AdMob, and I would just show my AdMob because it would be gone soon anyway, right? And it was fun. And then people would chat with me through Snapchat, and it was really hard because you have to make sure you read it the first time. You couldn't just look at it and say, I'll respond to that later because it's gone, right? And I had some people would send me stack traces on Snapchat, like just, I'm getting this error, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, I honestly don't know. I can't read it in the 6 seconds that is there, and I can't respond to it in Snapchat. And it's also, I can't be everyone's, like all of us, we're all developers. We know what it's like to get a stack trace error, and we know what it's like to hit Google and say, what the hell is this? Or which line is this occurring on? What's happening there? I'm getting this, I'm getting a buffer overrun error on this one, or I'm getting a, whatever. I'm getting this error on when I call this function, and then you drill down from there, and that whole problem solving thing is vital to your, it's vital to your whole development experience. Like if you don't do that, you don't learn, and then the next time you know what it is, or you at least know what to look for. Oh, it's because I'm not whatever, I'm not connected to the device, or I don't have access to I haven't set the permissions on accessing email, or whatever it is. You get those stack trace errors. But they were just sending me everything, and I thought Google would be faster and more efficient than just sending a Snapchat message to Eric. So I totally get what you mean there, Matthew. But it's like, but I want to be helpful. Like I'm grateful for the fact that they're thinking of me, but at the same time, it's like I just can't do that. So CH Development says, what would you say is the difference between your launched ear and launching an app now? I mean, Google Play wise, and time it takes. I assume the amount of apps now makes a difference. It does. I mean, the amount of apps. I mean, there's so many apps out there, but there's a lot of apps are just derivatives of the first. So somebody does something that really works, and everybody piles on top of it and does that's working, so I'm going to do it too, right? Look at After Flappy Birds. How many endless runner games have we seen after Flappy Birds, right? Nobody's doing levels anymore. It's just kind of this, hey, they were able to make this work somehow, and I could do something similar to that, and now it's everywhere. Or the Uber thing, or there's all these different things that just people are doing that are derivative of that, and eventually somebody's going to come up with something that's a bit more unique, or something that works better, or something that attracts more, or deals with issues that are already deals with issues in existing apps that other people can't find, or something that's just more attractive, right? There's certain applications. A good example of one, like, have you ever used the app Tasker on Android? And I haven't used it in years because I'm an iPhone user now. Right? Yeah, I know. God, you know what? I just feel so awful saying it. But because I'm using an iPhone at the moment, I'm not using Tasker. But Tasker was one of these things where it was like it was a really cool tool. You said all this programmatic stuff, but it was so hard to do. The interface was not great. It was just kind of like, I kept thinking somebody just come around and do a better Tasker. But you know, it was also very flexible the way that it works. So you will come across stuff that you do. Somebody asked me in the comments today, and I need to respond to it, saying, do you think any game could get to the top with good ASO? And I have to respond that no. If the market's too crowded, then I mean it could, but it's going to be difficult. You're going to have to get it in front of people some way. You're going to have to use advertising. You're going to have to you have to advertise and get in front of people and get it in front of the right people. And you need to find the keywords that are the keywords for the advertisements that are going to give you the best return on the investment. You need to do, if you do pay for ads or boosted Facebook posts, you need to make sure that it gets spread so the cost of that ad goes down rather than go up. An example of this is we released, when we did, and I don't know if I talked about this on last week's live stream or not, when we did Vietnamese flash quiz, we were doing all the same, learn Vietnamese, download our app now, that kind of stuff. Everything was just telling them what to do. But then we started asking a question, what does this word mean in Vietnamese? Or what is this, do you know how to say this in Vietnamese? And then people would respond in the comments because they did. And the more they responded, the more that, the cost per spreading that thing went down, and it became more viral than, it wasn't viral because I was still paying for it, but my boosted costs started to reach more people because as more people started commenting on it, it started getting shown to more people, right? Stuff like that, you just learn as you go to bring the cost down. So if you could find some good, like, let's say if I do a yoga app, like, and there's loads of yoga apps, and then I go on and I put an ad for yoga apps, I'm going for those keywords, it's going to be super expensive. But if I do downward dog, I don't know why I chose that. I don't know anything about yoga. If I do stork stance, bird stance, but if I did something that was lower, it would probably get lower traffic, but at the same time it would be a lot less expensive, and you start to build that there. And if you get people into your app and get them leaving the reviews and beg and plead for them to leave reviews, then you'll start to gain some momentum there, and the algorithms will start to see that, hey, people who are using this really like it. They are keeping it for a long time. They're leaving reviews. All this kind of stuff, and they'll start to experiment with putting you more at the top of those results, so that you start to do better. But yeah, it probably is more difficult now. It's definitely more difficult now, and it's going to keep getting more difficult. But it depends on what you're doing. I mean, if you can find something that people are looking for, and you answer that need, right? So. Let's see, Billy says, let's go back up. Billy says, have you ever published any casino games such as slots? I have not. They are very profitable according to Sensor Tower and make some $11 million per month. I haven't. I know there's lots of people who have them, and I imagine it's the kind of thing you could reskin really well. But I've never, and I suppose if people are gambling, I mean, do they actually... I don't know very much about them. And I think the thing that bothers me about betting apps and casino apps, and whenever a client calls me, I don't know the laws. And I don't know the laws everywhere, right? Because I have had people call up, say they want to do a betting app, and what are the rules around that? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know. I think that's a legal thing. And it's the kind of thing where I think it would be always changing and everything. And that's why I've never gotten involved in it. But, $1 million per month, maybe. I mean, have you tried it, Billy? That would be interesting. Let's see. SH says Facebook Audience Network has eCPM is too low, daily $70 to $15 now. Why? Is that since Christmas? Is that since Christmas ended? SH, because I know a lot of things have dropped as there are less advertisers looking to advertise at the moment. Bram Vandenbroek says, hey Eric, just to be sure. Let's see. Do you use Android Studio to develop normal apps and Unity for games? No, so I don't. I should use Unity, but I use Corona. Even though it seems to be dying off. It's like, and I use Lua. So I had to learn Lua, even though I was a C# developer when I was a contractor, and Unity would have made much more sense. But I didn't like, when I first started looking at Unity, I think it costs a lot more then to do it, and it was the interface confused me. But now I'm thinking I wish I'd gone with Unity to do it, because then it's easier to find a Unity developer first if I need to get somebody else to work on it. And second, and I like that language. I like C# a lot better than I like Lua. But we've just done a lot of stuff in Corona already. And in terms of doing normal apps in Android Studio, no, if I do like a native Android app, I use IntelliJ only because I'm paying for it. So I have the full WebStorm, the JetBrains suite, so I can use WebStorm for hybrid apps, and if we ever do any web stuff, or PHP Storm if I ever do any WordPress development, which is actually I never do any WordPress development, and if I do, I use Sublime Text. And I've used AppCode a little bit, which is for for Objective-C, so you could do your iOS apps in it, and it's a lot nicer than Xcode, except it always seems to be a little bit far behind Xcode, and I'm never quite sure if I'm doing the right thing. It's like the interface is so different, it's so much nicer to work in, but at the same time, whenever you're trying to figure something out, all the documentation's about Xcode. So like that's one of the reasons why I still keep going back to Xcode for that. So Bill Donahue, hey, how's it going? Totally out of curiosity, but I've noticed lots of YouTube channels have this Teespring merchandise out for sale. Is that something you had to do, or did YouTube just automatically add that? No, Bill, I added that. So we had this. So a couple years ago, so I had a designer. She was a full-time designer, and whenever we have client work, she work on it. We do our own apps, we do our own stuff, we do our own social media, all that stuff. So it was great having her on the team. But sometimes she didn't have anything to do, so I thought, well, we set up a Spreadshirt shop, and I thought, well, let's do some T-shirts. So she did a few, and then we did a few more, and then we just built up this library of T-shirts. And on that Spreadshirt shop, we sold 2 T-shirts only, and the whole time we did it. And I was a guy who bought both of them. So when Teespring came out with the YouTube integration a while ago, I thought, well, we already have all these designs. Let's move everything over to Teespring, and we'll put it on the YouTube channel. And the sales have just, it's the same. It's like nobody's really gonna buy the T-shirt on there, but maybe because they're ugly, maybe because you guys aren't here to buy T-shirts. But I thought, well, let's just try it anyway. You put it on there, and it's not like they're selling they're not selling at all, but just put it on there. So it just we thought we'd give it a try, see how it works. So we're not doing that. We try certain things, like how can we monetize and not interfere with the content of the videos. So like I was saying about last week, getting some of the big ASO tools giving me affiliate links if I could promote their tool, but then I'm not finding that. But I'm trying out their ASO tool, and I'm not getting the kind of. I don't like it that much. So then I'm thinking, I can't do that. I can't make a video where I say, hey, this thing is really cool, if I don't think it's really cool. So because then it interferes with the content. And also it would kind of suck if at the end of every video I said, hey, and remember to download this thing or whatever, right? I'm not even good at saying, please remember to subscribe. I'm even bad at that. So I thought the Teespring thing would be like kind of unobtrusive, and we just last week, 2 weeks ago, set up a bunch of affiliate links, affiliate accounts on Amazon. So every time I mention a book, we could put the links there, but we haven't gone through and put those in there yet either. So the person who had set those up had left, so I need to figure that out and whether or not we do that. But the YouTube channel is not here to monetize anyway. We do have the ads at the beginning, and they make about like $180 a month, something like that. And every so often I'm tempted to turn them off just because it's not really it's not really something that's not the reason, it's not the goal of the channel, but it would be be kind of nice to be able to say, yeah, we do make money from the YouTube channel, but not really. What we do is people find us, we get clients, we're able to help other developers, and other developers are able to help us. So that's there. So hope you don't mind the Teespring stuff being there, Bill. Let's see. This is oh my god, I should know these characters. It's not Yuan Zhuang, is it? Do you have any experience with making apps in C++? I do not. Only Objective-C. I assume these are Chinese characters. Are those Korean? So I don't. In fact, C++, I don't think I've ever learned C++. I mean, I know C#, which is not the same. C# is closer to Java. I know Java. I've done a little bit of Objective-C, but I've never done anything in C++. So that's like for the hardcore guys. Rodrigo, you're here. I was about to play music in the background while I fix something. I guess I'll put Eric on in the background. Cool. So if you're fixing something in code, I just want to say, I'm trying to 17523. I'm trying to throw you off your code. I'm trying to throw you off your rhythm. Say curly bracket. God, you can't do it with code, can you? Curly bracket. Go to line 10. It's old school. Faraz Ahmad says, thank you for answering my previous question. I have one more for you. How many suspensions you have on your Play Store developer account? I think I have 4. So this is one. I'm hesitant to say it because sometimes I think I don't want to be tempting the gods of the gods. I mean, I don't want to be tempting fate, right? So, but I know there's a 3-strike rule, but I have had 4 suspensions, but 2 of them happened at the same time. Maybe they counted once, so I'm always afraid of getting another suspension, just because I don't need the whole account being shut off. But most of the time when I have had suspension. No, I have had, no, EarSpy was suspended. That would have been 5. And then they didn't suspend the whole account, and I appealed it, and I got it restored. So, yeah, it's one of these things. I mean, your account is in good standing. I think if you have one app and then you're constantly getting suspended, or if you have, I suppose it depends on the severity of the suspension. If it seems like something that's not malicious, then it's probably okay. But again, I've said this. I did do a video about whether or not the 3-strike rule is a myth, and quite a few people said, no, it's no myth, man. It's no myth. So I'm like, I'm just gonna, and what I don't want to do is say I have 4, and other people say, hey, that guy over there has 4, and you got me after 3, and then they go, oh, we'll just remove him then. So just be cool, right? Be cool because I'm sharing that with you. Let's see, Rahul. Singh says ophthalmologist. Oh, thank you. This is from ages ago. Sorry about that. Geroid Mullins, I hope I pronounced that right, says, hi, Eric. Other than ASO, what other ways you find are effective means of promoting an app? So you could do it through social media. You could do it through social media, which is all encompassing. So YouTube videos, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. So in the past, I've gone on Twitter and done just searching for people who are looking for my app or similar apps, and just sort of reaching out to them and saying, hey, we got this app, which is very slow, but I wrote some automated code to do it, which it's kind of not really in the terms and conditions of Twitter. So I set up some other accounts, and I was using Spintax. So Spintax is that stuff that spammers use, that it just keeps changing it so that each message was unique. There's like 11,000 combinations of what it could say. But I was going to hire somebody to do that, just reach out to people. In the end, I found I could just do that. It wasn't a lot though, because it also had to so I also had it like tweet out RSS feeds and stuff, and that was a bit creepy. But if you were going to do it manually, that would be one way to do it. Advertising, of course, and then also and we talk about and also backlinks, which is part of the ASO strategy, in my opinion. So you want to get backlinks in there, and the ideal situation. So there's 2 ways people can find. People are going to find your app either through search, which is what the App Store optimization does. It's not a trick. It's just keep making sure that it does well in the search results, or through some other methods. So maybe they see it through an ad, or they see it through a blog post, or they'll see it through, they're searching for something else and they find it. So that's, there's just that. It's just getting in front of the right people. And how can you do that? So, and the nice thing about, if you can get it into blog posts, and we've done, like, it seems like I've tried everything over the years. At one point, we were just emailing blog owners saying, hey, we think your users would be interested in this app. And then we do that. And that never really worked. I think maybe it worked once where we had a response from one person. But I think most people who run blogs, especially successful blogs, just get those kind of emails all the time. I know I get those kind of emails all the time, and I don't have a successful blog. I get, hey, we think your users would really like to hear about our app, your readers would really like to hear about our app. And I'm like, it was too mail mergy for me. That email was too mail mergy for me. Right? So I didn't really do that. And I have had people ask me to review their apps on this channel, and my whole thing about that is I think I would lose viewers if all I did was like if I said I want to feature this one app today, and then that would be it. Everyone would ask me, and I wouldn't want to say no to anybody, and then it would just I would have to be honest too. Like I would have to say, so and so wants me to look at this app. Here it is. I think it needs to change this. I don't like the way this works. I don't like that. And it wouldn't be like a favor. It might be even bad. And they might get a bunch of bad comments and everything too. So I think it's best if I don't. I will talk about my own apps, but even then I don't talk about those. So I had somebody on Skype who said, so this was when I was giving my Skype address out just to anybody. And, and somebody says, can I just ask you, and that was like a bunch of questions. Look at the stack trace error, all that kind of stuff. And then I was like, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a favor? And I said, depends on the favor. All right, can you just promote I just released my first app. Can you promote it on your channel? Can you talk about it on your channel? And I said, no, that's not a small favor, because it would be, nobody would want to watch it. It's just, unless it was something that was really, really good. Like it was something that was revolutionary, then I might talk about it. But the reason I'm saying that is think about that if you reach out to blog owners and stuff like that. How can you make it applicable to their audiences? So like mine is language learning apps. So we were reaching out to blogs about learning Swahili and stuff. Those are the ones we actually got some responses back from, but we couldn't just do it to everyone. So let's see. Faraz Ahmad said, do they really ban you after 3 suspensions? Let's just say yes, Faraz. Let's say they do. Don't go above 3 suspensions. And if they don't, well, then you're lucky. But I think in most cases they do. But like I said, for me, and I don't think it's because I get any preferential treatment, because they have suspended stuff, right? It's like I'm just, but I also have lots and lots and lots and lots of downloads and lots of apps, and trying to do and also trying to keep up with everything and make sure everything gets updated regularly. And like I said, the AdMob, I'm turning off my AdMob ads, make sure I respond to that right away, that kind of stuff. And also just be able to peel it and say, when Ear Agent was suspended last year, I thought, God, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money gone. And then I appealed it, and they said no. And I thought, well, I tried. It's like, and I'm just like, I just moped for 2 weeks. And then people kept saying, you should appeal it again. And I thought, I've already done it. What do you want? And then I reread it, and I appealed it again, just to emphasize the fact that we have thousands of users who enjoy this app. We've got all these reviews. We got all this. So there was like a lot of proof behind it, saying, and you're getting us for one little thing. I'll fix that thing, but I would, can you please reconsider? And then they did. So, but I don't want to say it as a general rule, because it was really like it required a bit of finesse, right? It was just, and that's why when people say, yeah, there's a 3-strike rule. If 3 strikes, you're gone. It might be a rule, but it might also be something that they're, it doesn't make any sense if you're not doing anything malicious. If it's something like, I suppose it depends on the severity of it too. Yeah, I know I keep going on about this. But I don't think I'm getting preferential treatment in any way. So people at Google don't know who I am. They don't, there's nothing. I don't have any contacts anywhere. So let's see. Harold Koffler says, "Hi all. Question to you guys: are you using Flutter for app development? Wondering how many people have switched. I haven't yet, but and Zed says Flutter has no future. Zed, really? You think so? Julio Iglesias says Flutter is amazing. So Zed and Julio Iglesias. And in my mind, I imagine Zed from the Police Academy movies, which I know a lot of you guys don't know who that is, and Julio Iglesias, who's Julio Iglesias. So if you guys are fighting it out, what would that look like? Roy Ford says, a second question is, Google AdMob have offered me a free consult. Do it. Do they sell you something, or is it worth listening to? It's worth listening to. Only been on AdMob for 2 months, but it is doing way better than Unity ads. Good. Yeah, no, Roy, or is it Mark? It's Mark on Facebook, right? So, yeah, do it. That was like when I did that first console, I thought I'll do it. And I was kind of the same, like not quite sure. They're not going to sell you. They don't have anything to sell you, right? They honestly don't. So what they told me was, that was when they said, I noticed you aren't running any interstitial ads. And I said, I am, but I'm doing it one every 4 opens, right? And he goes, well, most people run them immediately. So he told me this, and that was really, things really started to take off, because I realized, he goes, just somebody who knew better. And it was somebody who was giving me advice that knows how everything works, right? And they look at your app and they'll give you a bit of consultation, and it's well worth doing. Not to say that it won't get suspended, because later on that opening interstitial, which was making me a lot of money, was like no longer valid, and I got temporarily suspended. I had to remove it. That, the rules change, but it's good to have that. Definitely do it. If any of you guys out there get that email saying we would like to give you a free AdMob consultation, and for me it was in my spam folder, so check your spam folder if you get it. And they don't do it for everybody, I don't think, but if you get that, do it. I mean, that's all I can say about it. Am I clear enough about that, Roy? Do it. Rohan, hi Eric. Hey Rohan, how's it going? CH Development says, most of the time, family wants apps because they think they're going to make quick bucks. Yeah, that's true. Roy Ford says, $80 to do it quickly. I'm sorry, I'm way behind on these questions. Let's see. Junaid Maksud says, recently got Duns. Yes, it's still free if you're fine with waiting 3 to 4 weeks. 3 to 4 weeks is not bad. Yeah, iOS is Duns. Yeah, what was I thinking? It was something else. If you're going for a company account. Yeah, I had to do Duns. It was Duns number. And every client I've had is argued about that, because we're in the UK. They're like, what's a Duns number? I'm like, just Google it. And I think I got mine a lot quicker. I don't think I had to wait 3 to 4 weeks. Maybe it's just a lot more people doing it. Because this was back in 2012 when I did it. Let's see. Rafael Al-R says, hi, Eric. How did you get rid of AdMob 0.01 click? How did it? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you mean like as a CPM or an RPM? Rahul Singh says, hi, Eric. Do you think the package name of an Android app helps in ranking higher for that term? I have heard that theory, and I wish I could say for certain. I wish I knew, right? And people have seen, like my app, EarSpy or Ear Agent, the package name is com.microphone.earspy, right? And people say, oh, do you do that for ASO purposes? I said, no, I do that because my first developers were morons, right? When they released it, I said, oh, that should, like, if you guys don't know how this reverse domain thing works, it's like com.overpass.org, and they were like, oh, we can't change it now. We can't change it now. What should we do? I was like, fine. So like I have this thing, and it just bothers me. It bothers me how naive they were to not even know that, right? They also didn't know how to use string.xml. They were just bad developers. But they were learning, but they were professionals at the same time. But anyway, I've done a lot of work on it since then, but it still has that package name. But that app does pretty well. But I've heard that theory. I'm not sure. I really don't know. I imagine just the fact that if you had a keyword in your package name, even the link on Google, like, because it'd be indexed by Google and it's in the URL, like the Google Play page. So I imagine that it would help you if you could do it. But if you've already released your app, there's no reason in re-releasing it, if you know what I mean. So Anasur Rahman says, I had published my applications on Play Store, but I'm not getting any downloads. I have done ASO also. Please tell me how I can get more downloads. Well, Anasur, what's the name of your app? If nobody's finding it, that's an issue. How do you expect them to find it? What do you expect them to be searching? And if they search on it, you have to, how are they going to get to it? It's like saying, like if you say, I opened up a restaurant and nobody's coming, then you have to think the questions would be, how are they going to find it? Do they know where to go? Do they know it exists? If they don't know it exists, are they going to walk past it? Are they searching for it already? How are they going to get there? And if it's on a busy street, like in an ideal world, we'd all be featured on the front page of Google, and people would just scroll across and think, oh, I'll try this one. But that doesn't happen. There's too much already. And they used to have a what's new section in the beginning, but they don't do that anymore. So you're pretty much putting it out there, and you have to think about how are you going to build those paths to people finding it. So and I don't know if I can say that any better than that. And I know it's very all right, Bram, I'm sorry how I butchered your name. Sorry about that. Let's see. Zed says, hi guys, in chat I was wondering how old everyone is. I'm probably the oldest. No, I'm not. I might not be the oldest, but I'm up there. Let's see. Oh, CH Development is 37. I'm older. Let's see. Connor Mooney says, would you ever go on Fiverr and pay someone to make you an app or game? I wouldn't. I mean, I want to say I wouldn't. I just never have. I mean, I don't know how somebody. I mean, it would definitely be a reskin, wouldn't it? And it couldn't be very good unless. I mean, if somebody said they could build me a game on Fiverr, and I know it doesn't necessarily have to be $5. It could be, you know, hundreds of dollars, but still, I mean, it would probably be based on a template of some sort, which means there's lots of duplicates out there, at least in my opinion. I could be wrong though, Connor. Let's see. Mega Man says, have you ever used serverless computing for your REST APIs, or do you use VMs containers? I've used both. So the VMs and containers, you kind of know where you stand. Like, but it's also, there's a possibility of it going down. You have disk space errors, all that kind of stuff. A serverless one, like using Heroku's serverless, isn't it? Heroku. We use Heroku for a lot of stuff. And you got the Google Cloud Platform, and I haven't used Google Cloud Platform. Mostly I use Heroku, but I mean, I've used it playing around with it a bit. And of course we use Firebase Cloud Functions, which is kind of the same thing too. Or we use Cloud Functions, or you connect directly to Firebase. And the benefit of using Cloud Functions over connecting directly is that if you did want to move those REST APIs to another platform, you could. Whereas if you're using the Firebase libraries directly, you're kind of tied into that platform. But you also get the real-time updating, so that's cool. Let's see. Billy says, I tried publishing a slots game, but didn't have much luck. No luck with the slots. Because it was low quality. I also published a bingo game and did pretty well, but it got suspended because it used trademark name. Oh, okay. Genetic War says, how to solve AdMob error code 3. I'm not familiar with the code numbers themselves. Hopefully it came with a message. Genetic Wars. Let's see. If you're getting code 3, it means there's nothing wrong with your code, but that the ad fill rate is low, or some reason AdMob doesn't have any ads to show. Yeah, you have to think about AdMob only has a certain amount of ads to show, so sometimes you're not going to get a fill. Let's see. Thought in process says, how can we make money with an in-app purchases after the U.S. made changes so that you have to file for sales tax in every state, even if you are not a U.S. citizen? That is a platform issue. So that's something that, well, on Apple, I'm sure they're going to handle it. On Google, I don't know if they'll handle it either, because we have the same thing here where we have VAT. And we have VAT Mini One-Stop Shop, VATMOS, which I just got an email from my accountant today saying this might be the last one we have to do, because if you make less than 10,000 on payment revenue, and we're just below that in terms of on an annual basis, or no, maybe it's monthly. But anyway, I'm below it, so we don't have to do that. But right now, I have to send that. I have to go and download the financial report from Google Play and send it to my accountant every quarter. The previous 3 months, so that they can do that. So the Google Play is different, but I'd imagine a thought and process that everybody's going to have that, and there's going to be some guidance on that coming out. And yeah, because the thing about sales tax is that you're charged as you make the purchase. So unlike VAT, where we have to pay it, we pay it back afterwards, we claim it back afterwards. So I imagine that Google Play would implement that, but I don't know. Fist007 says, hey Eric, hey, how's it going? Didn't expect you to go live this week. I wasn't going to. Did I say I wasn't going to? I think, yeah, I wasn't going to. And then I thought, well, we'll do it on Thursday night instead, even though it's, it's not pizza night. So it's kind of, but it's still kind of, I thought we'd do it real quick, because tomorrow night, I'm going to go see a play tomorrow. And I completely forgot about it. So I'm going to go see Don Quixote in London. And I completely forgot about it. So I thought either we just don't do one this week or we'll do it tonight. So that was the so thought and process is app makers now have to charge and collect sales tax on the in-app purchases. Zoot Rocks says, tell me about App Follow Web. App Follow Web. I don't know what that is, I'm afraid. Every time somebody asks me to tell about something, I don't know. I wonder if it's something I should know about. So sorry about that. Junaid Maksud, I'm sorry. For everybody whose name I butcher, I'm really sorry. My last name is Ruli, and people have been butchering my name my entire life. So I hope you guys, I feel you. I understand. For some reason, people, my last name is pronounced Ruli, and my whole life, in school, in the army, everywhere, in doctors' offices, people come out and go, so Eric, oh, help me out here. Oh, it's a and it's like it's really, but for some reason in the UK, they get it right like almost every single time. So I don't know why that is. It's not an English name. Let's see. Fist007, can you just show us some screens of your code? Why would you want to see screens of my code? I do have screens of code up here, but it's mostly client stuff, so I don't want to show you that. I don't know if I want to. I think that's nah. I don't. It would be boring, and I don't want anybody saying, hey, that function has it could have a better name. There's always something. There's only developers like. I don't want to. I don't want to. What is it? It's like having telling somebody you do push-ups every day and they says show me, and you're like, and you do them, and you're like and they're like, hey, you're not going down far enough, whatever. So I swear to you, I can code. I swear to you, I'm not lying to you, but I don't want to get into the whole whether or not I'm doing it. I think it's just a lot of the environments I worked in, people get really critical of each other's work sometimes, if ego gets involved, and other times they don't. They're just like, okay, that's just the way you do things, or you're not following, you are following the standards, or you did a different thing in the place you worked. And then sometimes they're like, oh yeah, you need to do this, you do this, and you're like, I'm just getting it done. I'm just putting it out there. So if that makes sense, but yeah, and I don't see what benefit it would be unless I go like, okay, this is all right. So this is a recursive function. This will go down a tree hierarchy, and it will go down to the bottom one and move back up or whatever. So, but yeah, I don't. That would be so boring, Fist007. And can you please give us some examples of business apps you built and price ranges of how much you did charge for them? Again, I don't say every project we do, we have a non-disclosure agreement, and even ones that I've released. I mean, if you look at our website, I don't even advertise them there. I mean, this is something that, as the team is growing and as more things, people are saying you need to have an our clients page. You need to have case studies of stuff you've done. And I said we have our own apps, and when I meet with clients, I usually say these are previous clients we've had or whatever, and we talk about the applications. But in terms of talking about how much they cost, it's different because there's different complexities. And if I said, okay, here's one that we did for this client, and we charged them $5,000, then everybody who comes to us afterwards would say, they would base it on that. And it's not this. There's a lot of stuff. This is one of the ones why I'm really like, I don't like to talk about it in too much depth, because if one client hears one thing, another client hears another thing, I don't want it to be a thing. So usually we deal with them on a case-by-case basis so that we get the best price for them specifically based on what they want and what they need. And again, I'm sorry if that makes me seem two-faced, but it's not my intention. CH Development says, I think it's 3 suspensions over 3 months. That makes sense. That makes sense if it resets after 3. If it resets after 3 months, then I'm in better shape than I thought. I'd do a couple more suspensions, but I'm not going to take that as gospel. Mega Man 2016 says, have you ever made any React Native apps? We have React Native apps. I've worked on React Native apps, but I haven't done the whole thing myself. I feel like I need to learn these newer JavaScript frameworks instead of being a dinosaur programmer and stuck in the .NET world. I don't know. You could do a lot with .NET. I think I was a .NET developer for ages, and the only reason I didn't do Xamarin is because when I started on the Xamarin side, it was it was still very primitive, and there was not a lot of documentation. And now there's a lot of Xamarin developers out there, and it seemed like Xamarin in the beginning, and maybe even now, they didn't say, hey, this is a great platform for cross-platform applications. We're a great cross-platform thing, only code once, deploy to both places. They were like, hey, use your existing technologies. You don't have to learn anything new. And I was fine with learning a new technology, but also being a C# developer, Java's very close. I mean, there's certain things that just get you all the time. You know, using a string, declaring a string variable with a capital S or whatever. That kind of little stuff like that gets you. Or a string buffer versus a what's it? String buffer. What's the one in? There's a different name for it. I can't. String buffer, I think, is Java, and C# is something else. But anyway. So, but I don't think that's a dinosaur thing. But also, the money's better in the .NET world. The nice thing about JavaScript, so I was a .NET developer. I was in Silverlight. So this was like when I started doing JavaScript. It was like 2011, and we just started. I just started getting into jQuery. I mean, I was doing JavaScript all the time, obviously as a web developer, but usually it was very simple. I mean, I had some stuff which was very complicated on the client side, but it was always overkill. It was always because I was working, like if there was one place I was working with a server guy who wouldn't give me anything. I said, can I just have an API that gets this? No, I'm giving you everything at once. So I was like, get all the data in one go, and I would load them in all these different client side arrays, and I would have everything stored locally in the client side page, where most people who use JavaScript at the time, web developers, would just be like, if txt name.text is equal to empty space alert, you have to enter a name, that kind of stuff. But now it's like really advanced JavaScript. And when I started getting into jQuery, I started seeing all the stuff that you do on the page. And of course, Ajax had been around for ages, but then I just really got into it like hardcore. And then when I start doing start doing PhoneGap at the time, I thought this will be it. I'll do PhoneGap, but it was still very slow. PhoneGap was very slow, but now you've got React Native you got React Native, you got the web view based ones, and then you've got Flutter and Flutter's Dart, which is different, but it's still, I think it's similar enough. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think it's a dinosaur thing though. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm way behind on this. AppFollow.io. Okay, I haven't used that Zootrox. I'm sorry about that. Is it good? Is it an ASO tool? I'll have a look into it. DJ Ethrax, yo, says, hello, sir. Can we use Python to build an Android and iOS app? I remember once on the live stream I said no, but somebody said, yeah, you can, but I don't know what framework it is. I'd imagine it have to be running within a framework, but I don't know the answer. I mean, I think somebody said you could, but I don't know how. So I've never seen it myself, and I've never learned Python. Even though I keep looking for libraries to do machine learning in JavaScript, even though Python is the is it Python? Python is the machine learning language that most stuff is in, right? Billy says, what my friend does is when he gets at least 2 suspensions on his account, is to buy another Google Dev account and transfer all of his apps to the new account. So then he has 0 suspensions. See, that sounds like, wouldn't that affect you in some way? Like would you have to, actually, if you transfer the apps, I guess you wouldn't have to change the URLs, right? It would still be the same URL, same backlinks, all that kind of stuff, Billy. Let's see. Geroid Mullen says, thanks, Eric. How often do you do these live videos? I'll be sure to tune in them again. I do them on Friday nights, usually at 5 p.m., but sometimes I have to miss, like tomorrow night. But it's, again, I never thought the live streams would be very good because I don't know what to talk about, and I ramble a lot, as you can tell. And but people like the live streams, so it's just a good chance for us to have a good back and forth. I mean, not just me, but you guys together too. So let's see. Bram says, how do you find developers? Where do you get the contacts, and how do you search them? So a lot of times I work with companies, like service provider companies. A lot of times they'll reach out to me, but most of the time I ignore them because it's like the same. It's the same email. It's like the mail merge thing, right? And occasionally I'll find 1 or 2 that I think, oh, we'll give them a try. We'll have a chat. We'll see if it works. Give them a test project, that kind of stuff. If it's somebody working directly for the team, I usually go to onlinejobs.ph. So The Philippines, that's just the Philippines because it's, you know, I like the idea of somebody working from home. They're able to stay with their family. If their internet connection is good enough, they could just do that. And if they, as they learn on the job, then they stay with the team and they don't, it's not like they work with another company and then that's it. So I'm willing to invest in them learning. And then I've used Upwork a little bit to get developers. I've never had a good experience with that. Not because of Upwork. The nice thing about Upwork, and it makes sense that you would use Upwork if it's just like one project you need to do, or even if it's like an ongoing thing but not full time, because Upwork, you have the social proof. You have them leaving reviews. Like people keep saying, I talk about when I get translators to translate my apps, people say, how do you know they're not just swearing? And I think, well, because I could leave them a bad review and that would ruin their future on the platform. Whereas if you just hire a developer without them having any kind of profile or anything that they're building up and really look after, then they could just screw you over. But on Upwork, I mean, and Upwork and Freelancer, I guess is the same, those different ones. People are working really hard to build up their profiles and they don't want to jeopardize them by doing something bad. Gearoid, always funny hearing people pronounce my name. It's pronounced Garode. I'm sorry about that, Garode. I'll try to remember that for next time. Orion Core says, I'm 44. I'm still older than you. App follow is a free keyword tracking ASO tool. Love from Vanch Ranga says, love from India. Thanks, Vanch. Vanch? Now I'm like self-conscious. I'm mispronouncing everybody's name. And Zoot says, love from Pakistan. Thanks, Zoot. Vanch says, is app business a good career? It depends. I mean, we're doing a lot of client work, and I think I said this before. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I think a lot of apps are going to be moved towards the enterprise, or they are getting moved towards the enterprise. A lot of our clients are enterprise clients, so we're doing apps that you will never see because they're like used internally within some company somewhere, almost like an intranet site, right? So when web was big in the early 2000s, everyone was going crazy. They got the .com millionaires and everything, and then the bubble burst, and people thought, oh, the web is dead. I remember people saying the web is dead. Yeah, remember the web, of course it wasn't dead. It just normalized, right? People got, and a lot of the jobs I had was working in investment banks or working for companies doing internal stuff, and they still need that. They're still. I mean, think about how many businesses there are that are inefficiently run. They just can't, they could really benefit from, and they have people with smartphones that they bought themselves that they're walking around with that they could just, they could, do their job on the toilet. I mean, that should be our tagline. Overpass. We build apps so you can work on the toilet. Right? That should be our thing. But it's true. So they always have it with them. They have it when they're eating lunch. They have it whatever, unlike a browser-based thing or a desktop. And we still have all those legacy stuff out there. So there's a lot of stuff that's I'm excited about. I'm excited for working with companies. So I think it's a good career. But there's lots of good careers. So if you like doing it, I think it'd be good. I love doing it. Obviously, I'm gonna do a video about this. At some point, but I don't have any hobbies. I'm thinking about it. Aside from occasionally binge watching a Netflix show, which I always feel bad about afterwards, but I keep doing it. I have no hobbies. As app development, I guess the YouTube videos maybe, but that kind of stuff. So let's see. Harold Koffler says, does advertising influence the keyword app rankings? Can advertising be a one-time keyword booster for an app, or does someone need to keep ads placed if ASO is not enough? If you take out ads, you will see a huge bump in the users, and then when you take off ads, you'll see them drop, right? That's just the way that it is. But if you can get those users to leave reviews, to keep the app installed, all that kind of stuff, it's going to give social proof, and it's going to help the ASO rankings all together. So there's nothing wrong with, like, a lot of times people will say, you need to think about your cost per user, your cost per acquisition, and how much money you're going to make from that user, and then just do ads, right? And it makes sense. Like if I could spend $1 to acquire a user, and they're going to spend $5 over the course of their lifetime, then it's no brainer. Most of the time, that's not the case. If I spend $1 to acquire a user, maybe they'll spend 80 cents, or maybe they'll, if it's just ads, maybe they'll make 10 cents off of them. It's not enough, but sometimes I will do these bursts just to get the get the rankings up, just to get some social proof there. So yeah, so let's see. Junaid Maksud says, you missed my question. Let me go back. I'm sorry. Let's see. It's not intentional, but I don't see it. Junaid, I don't see the question. If you could put it back in the comments, and we're gonna have to start wrapping up here really soon because it's getting late. Junaid, if you could just put that in again. For some reason I don't see it. And if anybody, don't get upset if I miss a question. It's not on purpose. I try to answer every single question before we finish. So no more questions, so we can finish up. Let's see. Where did I leave my place? Sorry. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I missed your question. Okay, so Fist007 says, for the code, I want to see if I'm close enough to a certain standard. The standard in this case is you. All right. You know what's really good? What I find, so when I bought, so one of the things about buying code or looking at open source projects is you get to see how other people code. If you don't work in an environment with other developers, you get to see how that works. Right, and and a lot of times if you're going to release something publicly, you're going to make sure it's your best code. Right, if I just showed you something randomly, it might not be my best code. Right, so it's so when you look at open source projects, a lot of times you see people's best code, and it's a good way to do it. You see how people do things, and again, a lot of it's based on opinion. A lot of it's based on coding standards. Right, there's certain things that you just do, right, because it makes it more readable, it makes it more scalable, it makes it more maintainable. Right, so. But there's other things that there's certain things that happen to people doing code that I don't like. Right? I don't like it when you declare more, personally, I don't like it when you declare more than one variable on a line. I want one variable per line. Right? I'm fine to instantiate that variable with a value, like say, var counter equals 1. Right? I'm fine with that. What I'm not fine with is var counter comma line break, comma, whatever, and then the values afterwards. That's just something I don't like, but it's valid. It's valid code. I like Lambda, but it took a long time for me to like Lambda expressions. For a long time, I was like, God, I just don't like the way that it looks. But now I love Lambda expressions. I think they're really cool. And for depending on the language, there's different things. There's different things that I like and I don't like. That there are certain ways that I will code. And other people will do other things that I don't like, and there's other things that are just bad, right? There's other things that are like, I hate seeing lots of code comments. And not to say I don't have lots of code comments, like you're testing things out. Let's comment this out, see what happens. Something's happening. I got to try to track down a bug. I'm commenting out big parts of code, but I hate it when you keep those in for the duration of the project, because it should be that you go through Git or some version control thing and then use that to do it. But other places I've worked where they said, no, we never delete code. We always just comment it out and leave a note there saying why you comment. So you would have like entire classes, which was like the entire class commented out, and then like the rewritten class underneath it, which would seem like just such a waste of space for me. And but just way with different people work in different stuff. So and Fist007 says, for the apps and prices example, just give some examples on the cheapest and the most expensive prices, not correlating them to apps. So I did a video about this before. Most of the time, it could be they're usually 6 to 8. No, it's between 6 and. It depends. It really depends on the complexity of the app, right? Like we have clients that are like, we've got this giant mainstream system. We have to make sure everything's tested a thoroughly way. So we could charge $30,000 for it, right? It is, right? So, or we could charge, $6,000, or we could charge, it depends on the work, and it depends on what has to be done. And it really is very difficult to say it, because once I start throwing out numbers, everybody starts saying, oh, that's how much it costs. And that's not the case. We have to look at each individual each individual thing. It's like, you know, we don't know what's involved, right? It's like going into a mechanic. You know, you just say, what's the cheapest thing you have or the most expensive thing? Is that depends on what you bring me. So it's really difficult to say. Rahul, what's up, gangster? What's up, Rahul? Gangster. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about gangster. I was going to say that all week this week and I forgot. Billy, yeah, everything is the same on a new account. Oh, okay. Jesse, what technologies do you want to get experience in? So, then I asked it before, but have you done any Alexa or Google Assistant skills? Have I done Google Assistant skills? Have I done Google Assistant skills? Watch this. Hey, Google, talk to Overpass apps. It's not going to work.
Sure. Let's get the test version of Overpass apps.
Hey, this is Eric from Overpass. Now allow me to introduce you to our Overpass bot. Hey Google, stop. So I've been working on, so over Christmas my project was working on Dialogflow and doing a bit of work there. And that's, but Alexa, I'm doing Alexa, we're going to do Alexa here, and we're doing it for some client projects, so I'm trying to learn how it works too, because it's really, really cool, right? And at first I was going, you know, but now I'm like, I'm really getting into it, and so I've submitted this, so it's not live. So if you ask to talk to Overpass apps, I was going to say it's not going to know what it is, because I've submitted it for approval twice, and it's like I'm in the early stages, the same way with apps. I submitted it twice, and I've got it rejected both times because the mic is left open. It's not saying why. So it's mainly an interface thing. It's like you shouldn't just, it's waiting for you to say something else, and it should say is what else would you like to do or something like that. So it's those little things where I'm submitting it, and it's not like it's not like a suspension. It's just like, oh, they come back with some feedback, and you go, okay, I need to do that. And I only have like a little bit of time, so on weekends I'll do it, and I didn't do it last weekend or last few weeks. So it's that kind of thing. So, and all it does is it'll give you a random app idea, and it will give you some keyword suggestions for your app, and that's what it is. But it's more like the proof of concept. So you know, how can we use this? And we're doing the same with Siri. Of course, Dialogflow is it's not the same as Google Assistant because it's Google Actions, but Dialogflow is the engine that sits underneath it, and that's something that I'm really impressed with, and I'm having a lot of fun playing with that. So yeah, Jesse, and that's what technology, that and Flutter are the things that I really want to get into. Let's see. Bram says, thanks for all the answers. No problem. Rick Calvert, 49. All right, Rick, you are slightly older than me. I'm 46, so I'll turn 47 this year. Let's see. And just as I mentioned that, Jesse, have you had any experience with ageism in the tech space? I have not. No, I haven't. I mean, have I experienced it with other people? I mean, have I seen other people experience it? I don't know. I haven't really. I mean, I know it's a thing. I know it exists. But I think most people who are developers, even if they're advancing age, it's not like, you know, they're not incompetent. They know stuff. You know, they're switched on. They're all constantly working their brains. I think in other parts of, like, I've seen ageism and, you know, somebody who can't quite figure something out. They're like a bit flustered, and they don't have the confidence to think I can learn this. But most developers that I've ever met, they have that confidence. Like, even doesn't matter the age. They're like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and figure this out, right? You know, I have all these years of experience behind me. I know I can figure this out, and I'm gonna do it. Like, that's one thing you get as a more experienced developer that you don't get as a junior developer, because a junior developer, they kind of think, I may never figure this out, and they will, but they just don't do that. And like after a certain amount of years, you think there's a solution to this. It's all ones and zeros at some level. I just need to figure out what it is. Case in point, the biggest thorn in my side at the moment is an app that's crashing. It's on iOS. It's an iOS. We took it over from another developer, so it's an Ionic app, and it's an iOS app, and it's crashing on. Or no, it's Ionic. So it's cross-platform, but the iOS version is crashing. So due to memory issues, right? And that is like the hardest thing. And I've had it on apps before. We try to track down, where is this memory issue coming from? And can we even get around it? Do I need to rewrite this entire section? Because it was a previous developer that did it, and I'm just like, it's just, I don't know if you know what this is like when you have something that only fails on a physical device, so you're constantly loading it up, running it. Hey, it's working, crash. okay, I changed this thing, tweak this, run it, crash. You're constantly, you're Googling stuff, you're doing it. Okay, let me try something. Let me rework everything. Let me try to load the variable up first. Let's try to page it. If we page it, will that work? What's a page size? All this kind of stuff. And how do we, do we clear the memory from here? All this kind of stuff. And it's just that kind of stuff. And I know there's a technical solution, but damn, it's like, God, I was like, that's the kind of thing where you just want to throw the phone out there. Like last night, I was sitting here working on it in this office. I'm just like, and but time flies by. Like you're just like, it's like 10 o'clock and you're like still here going, okay, I really need to leave. But I just tried this one more thing, right? And then of course that doesn't work. And you're like, oh, and you realize the whole day is gone and you've gained no ground. That's hard. CH Development says, app development is my hobby. Cool. Jesse says, do you know anyone in your age range that is killing it in the app space? Apart from yourself, of course. I don't know. I don't really know anybody's age. But I'd imagine, I know people who are killing it in the App Store. I never asked them how old they are. So let's see. Roy, it's 3 a.m. here. Oh, is that Australia? Harold Colfer says, thanks, Eric, for answering all the questions. Keep up this great channel. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, Harold. Let's see. Junaid says, my quick question. Any advice for a starter company how to grow from a generic point of view, not app development related? Yes. So definitely. So we're still growing. So it's like always growing. So there's lots of stuff that I have on my agenda, which is resulting in advertising. I want to do email funnels. I want to do more targeted Facebook advertising. But I would say start building up your portfolio. I'm not saying app portfolio. I'm just saying, start to do that. Get onto social media and start putting stuff out there. You're an expert at something. People need to know you're an expert at something. Don't be one, like I said, these companies that email me and say, hey, we're experts in app development. And you go to their website and all it says is, we can do this technology, this technology, this technology. We're experts, but I don't see any evidence to that. If I go to their blog, there's like maybe 2 weeks of blog content that ended 2 years ago, right? So it's like at one point they said, we're going to write blogs, but they're very keyword driven and very generic, and they're not doing anything there. They're not doing any social media, they're not doing any videos, they're not doing anything. They're just telling everybody they're an expert. And I'm thinking, and it's fine. They might be an expert. Maybe they're so much of an expert that they don't have time to talk about their passion. But I doubt that. So when people contact us, there's certain that like I could talk about code all day long. I talk about code every single day. When we do that, and it's and we're passionate about it. So can you demonstrate that in some way? Also, you need to get out in front of people. So that using social media is a great way to do that, but it's not easy. Like everybody's doing something on social media. Everybody thinks they need to be doing social media, and they're doing it. And you also have to, and you could do reaching out to people. So use LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It's a really good tool. So if you're going to if you're going to find B2B clients, LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a fantastic way to do that, because you can say, I want to find every CTO in a 30-mile radius that works in a company with over 50 people or whatever. So you could do that and reach out to people that way. So there's lots of tools out there to do it. And then also just getting really good at, content seems like it doesn't really matter, but I think it does. I'm a big Gary Vaynerchuk fan for like the last 10 years, I guess. And he said every company should be a media company, and I kind of believe that. And one of the reasons why we do the videos and we do the blogs and we do all that kind of stuff and just share information is, first of all, because I really, really love doing it. But at the same time, we have to demonstrate that we know what we're talking about. If anybody is going to hire us, I can't just say, hey, we're an app development company, hire us. Or we're an app development company, I have to say, these are our clients, but if you don't have any clients, you can't do that. Or these are the things that we've done, but if you haven't done anything, you can't do that. So you have to demonstrate some way how to do it. And I think that's something that's really important, and just start building up that portfolio. And for a while, it's going to be hard because you're still building, right? If you could demonstrate to somebody, you could do it. And if depending on the industry, if it's something where you do something for free and demonstrate it to them, great. And I talked about this before. We try to do this a bit when we do quotes. I want to show them what it could look like. And the reason I do that is because I used to I used to have a job when I worked in Honolulu, because I was in the Army. Out of high school, I joined the Army. I went to California to learn Chinese Mandarin, and then I went to Texas for a couple months for training, and then I was stationed at Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. And when I got out of the Army, I worked at I had like several part-time jobs where I worked at Sears as a stock boy in the morning, and then at night I worked at this job where I worked for photographers, and it was called a runner, where I would go pick up the canisters of film from the photographers that would take pictures of people at the restaurants, like tourists and stuff, and I would take it back to the lab. It would get developed, and I would take they would get the glossy pictures and take them back to the cameramen so they could sell it. And they would sell these pictures for $10 each. The thing was, everybody said they didn't want to buy a photo. Like, nobody wanted to buy a photo, but people would buy the photos when they saw them. They had to see it, and they would say, "I look really good in that. That looks really good. Actually, you know what? I do want that," right? And if you're in a profession that you can say, demonstrate to them, this is what we can do for you. This is the type of app we can do for you. This type of website we can do for you. This is how we see your vision going forward. And just be upfront about it. You don't say, "Hey, we could do an app for you. What do you want?" And they're like, "Well, I don't need an app." No. I think you need an app. Okay, well, so what do you want, right? And this is what you get all the time. Nobody wants to do anything unless they're told what to do. And if you could be a little bit more assertive there and say, "I want to demonstrate to you what's possible," then you could do that. So, so Jesse says, those that comment out entire classes must not have heard of Git or Subversion. Yeah, I know, right? That's what it's for. Let's see. Fizz 007, thank you. It seems that we have pretty much the same coding standards. And as for pricing, I think we've got the big idea. Cool. Another question: how do you requirements gathering with clients? Do you do it before payment or after payment? And let's see. And then Roy Ford says, living in Malaysia, going to check out the online jobs.ph. Thanks for answers. Yeah. So I'm going to come back to you, Fizz 007. That's the last question I'm going to do. So sorry, everybody. Even though Darcy, I know we've said how to pronounce it last week, didn't we? Said just joined us. Hello, how's it going? But yeah, so online jobs.ph does cost, or at least it used to cost $50 a month. I have like a lifetime thing, so I still continue to use it. But you could look through the profiles, and then if you want to contact them, you have to pay for it. So try it out. Oh, and also you're going to find some people who are just going to not get it, or they might cheat you or whatever. So be careful. Be careful. And I did a video on this before. So be careful. Hire quickly. No, hire slowly, fire quickly. That's what it is. So you might make sure, like, if somebody's not working out, just do right away. So don't promise anybody anything. Say, "I want to try you out for a week. I want to try you out for 2 weeks," or whatever. And then get the daily summary. Make sure you're kept up to date. Don't ever let somebody go off for 2 weeks. I'm going to be back with you in 2 weeks, and then, and you think they're working, but they may or may not be. So that last question from Fizz 007: how do you do requirements gathering with clients? Do you do it before payment or after payment? Usually before payment. Otherwise, we don't know what to do. Because you can't say, we'll get you to pay. And again, what we could do is say, we'll get a payment for a certain amount, and then do the requirements gathering, and then give a final estimate. But we just do it like we try to get the requirements beforehand. And I know that accepts a certain amount of risk, that you could do all this requirements gathering and not get anything. But I just think it's just like, if I was to call a roofer and they were to come look at my roofer, someone to fix my roof or something, and he came over, and I wouldn't expect to pay him, and then he does requirements gathering. I expect him to look at my roof and then tell me how much it's going to cost, and that's something that we have to do. And it's hard to do it, especially if it's really complicated. And sometimes I let quotes go too long where I lose the client because I'm just like, it requires too much thought. But that's just the way that we do it. Maybe not the best. So Gorod, thanks very much. Great advice. Thanks, Eric. Junai, amazing info. Thank you. Much appreciated. We'll work on portfolio and social stuff. Cool. Tech Genius says hi. Pieter Visser says from the Netherlands. Question: I can't answer any more questions, Peter. I have to go. I'm starving. There's dinner on the table for ages so far. But okay, let's see. What was your first app project as a learning project and first money making project? Oh, I have to get going. And Tryon says, what do you think about Google AdWords and Google Play? Do you think that $100 can be a good at boosting a game? I've used it. You know, I haven't used it on Google Play. To me, I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience with that, Tryon. I know I should have. I think I'm pretty sure I've tried it. I know that I've tried it, and I mean the response was so underwhelming that I can't even tell you how good it was. But it might be because you are getting it. It would make sense to do that, but I haven't had any good experience with it. I feel as I'm saying this, I'm realizing I should try that again because it was kind of a one-off. I think I tried it for like a week. And it was, when you see money going out and you don't see the results, you're like, turn that off. Turn that off. We're draining money. So, and then finally, Pieter Vissers, my first app project, which never went live, was this body alarm type idea I had, which I never actually finished or released. As a learning project, then that was probably it. That was just kind of figuring out how it all worked. And the first money-making project was I actually hired another team to do it, and that was the EarSpy one. And but it wasn't money-making so much in the beginning, but it took a while to build that up. So anyway, thank you everybody for joining us on this special Thursday night live stream, an hour and 36 minutes. Okay, so I wasn't planning on talking this long, but we won't be doing one tomorrow night. We will be back next Friday night at 5 p.m. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. If you have not subscribed to the channel, because I keep forgetting to say that, please subscribe. And I'm gonna try to get in the habit of saying that, because it's one of those things people keep saying you need to tell people to subscribe, and I don't. So anyway, thank you very much. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow on the daily video. I'll talk to you guys on the live stream again next Friday at 5 p.m. UK time. Okay, see you later. Bye.